Oh, the sun is pretty. Good morning, friends. So, today I will be filming for the third time my first current events, my thoughts and ideas and opinions on things type of video. So, I say this is my third time filming this because it is. I have actually filmed this exact video. I filmed this twice last week on two separate occasions. The first time I went ham and went on and ranted and rambled, but my air was on really high, so you couldn't hear anything I said. The second time I filmed, I felt like I wasn't as to the point. I don't know, I feel like I bounced around way too much the second time I filmed this. I don't even know why I'm explaining all this to you guys, because it's not like you would even know, nor probably care that I have filmed this twice already. So, let me just give a quick backstory. In light of the civil unrest that we are experiencing in the world, you know, in light of George Floyd's death, in light of Breonna Taylor's death, in light of all the newest hashtags of lives being lost, of cases being reopened, in light of all of that, I have been changing up how I post and what I post on social media. To know me is to know that I normally post really funny content. I normally post dance-related content. I'm normally very lighthearted on social media. I don't really get into any debates. Like, I don't really express like any sort of political. I don't get real political in general with what I say on the social media world. But as of late, I've just felt like it just wouldn't be right if I didn't speak on how I'm feeling, especially those that may not be as knowledgeable about the Black experience, if you will, or Black Lives Matter or anything like that. I just felt like it would be a waste of my platform. Not saying I have some huge following or anything, but oh man, this is unfortunate. Y'all really can't see me. I'm sorry, it's really early in the morning, so the sun is really high, so lighting's gonna be weird. I'm sorry, just bear with me, okay? I just want to film this and get it up and not have to film this for a fourth time. I just felt like in the light of all of this, it just wouldn't be right to not say anything. So I was writing these lengthy posts on Facebook, and I was sharing a lot of things on Instagram, and you know, DMing people that would ask me questions about my opinion on XYZ. And I was starting to get a lot of people asking me, like, did I ever consider making YouTube videos on my opinions on things? And I was just like, why would I do that? You know, like, I just felt like posting about it was enough. I felt like, you know, if y'all really wanted to see what I had to say, you can just go look at a post that I would have made. But y'all, there were people that definitely were asking me, why haven't I just put my thoughts to a video form? So I have filmed another video already talking about Blue Lives Matter and All Lives Matter. I just kind of touched on it. I didn't get deep into the history or anything of it all. Another quick backstory, why I'm in the car. I have filmed this video and the one that will go after this in the car because I am in the car a lot. I commute, I go everywhere. So the majority of my time is spent in the car, and I just feel like it would be a waste of my day to not use this time to use it for filming purposes. You know what I mean? As you can tell by the title of this video, I want to talk about social media, and like I just said, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of it, and I want to start with the ugly. I personally feel like, this is my honest opinion, if you are not willing to take the time to educate yourself, this goes for anybody, but I'm really talking about my non-Black people right now. If you don't take the time to educate yourself and fill yourself up with knowledge that helps you have a more logical, a more fact-based opinion, and you're choosing to continue to repost things that are not correct, like if you're choosing to repost things that are justifying these wrongful deaths, if you're choosing to repost things that are encouraging like All Lives Matter as a movement, if you're posting things that are like, oh, you know, the Black Lives Matter funded movement is unchristian-like and we should not be saying Black Lives Matter. If you're, you know, encouraging anything that is basically oppositional to the very core of raising awareness for those that have been victims of police brutality, to those that have literally suffered because of their skin color, aka the Black community, in any sort of a way, it's just ugly to me because it's so insensitive. And my thing is, not everyone knows that what they're doing is insensitive, and I give room and grace for that. I've seen a lot of reform, but I have seen a lot of people in the wake of the black community and even non-black people, aka allies, that are trying to use their voices to educate and spread knowledge on social media in bite-sized forms. If you're choosing to scroll past all of that and stand by your wrong opinion and continue to retweet, like, share, repost insensitive content, then you're just contributing to the ugly side of social media. Why on earth would you do that? Let me give an example. Let's just say your best friend passed away. Let's just go ahead and add something to it. Of cancer. Okay? They're not even saying they're sorry for you. They're not expressing any sort of a condolence or offering any sort of support. They are just looking at you and taking in your words and letting them go out the other ear. But your body language, your physical state, your physiological state in that moment is showing that you are going through it, and your friend is dismissing all of that in that moment and talking about how their best friend is still alive, or not all cancer patients die, or let's talk about it. Let's get into the fact that as a black community, we are mourning more than one death at once. We are grieving more than one occurrence at once. We are experiencing racial trauma over and over and over again, multiple times. It's not just one experience and then we move on to the next one. It's all happening at one time. And then someone has the nerves to be like, well, they were resisting the police, therefore the police probably had no choice but to shoot. Or I'm sure she probably looked a little suspicious in her sleep in her home, therefore she deserved to die. Oh, I'm sure that little kid probably pointed his toy gun in a way that simulated a real gun, even though it was probably colored in neon colors because it's a toy and not a real gun, but doesn't matter. It looked like a real gun and that's a child, so he probably deserved to die. How do you think we feel when we are on social media as a black community, expressing how sad we are, expressing how angry we are, expressing how much change we need, we want, expressing so many feelings, and then to have a non-black person say things like, well, all lives matter, or blue lives matter, which I really go in on that in my next video, so I'm not even going to touch on it today. Let's just say someone's just being very distant and inconsiderate of what's going on in that moment. Like, they see that you're hurt and they still choose to say things that are not sensitive, not considerate. I'm sorry, can you guys even see me? I can't see myself. I don't think y'all can see me. Maybe y'all can. I don't know. I'm gonna keep talking though. I just genuinely don't get it when people have the nerve to look at social media and see and feel the heartbreak in these posts that people are reposting that in some way, shape, form, or fashion are expressing how they're feeling. It may not be their exact words, but someone was able to tell it in a way that they relate it, and they're sharing it because they're like, this is how I'm also feeling. And people still have the nerve to be like, it don't matter, all lives matter. It don't matter, cops are doing their jobs, they're doing the best that they can. It don't matter if black people would comply with the police, they wouldn't be in this predicament. When you start hearing that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again while experiencing trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma, you're going to honestly just break and start rioting. So that's the other side of social media for me, is the insensitivity. And like I said, some people genuinely don't know, but once they do know, once they are exposed to truth, once they are exposed to facts, once they are exposed to new knowledge, it's not, for some reason, it is not normalized to have a changed opinion yet. It is not considered okay to have your ego knocked down because what you were thinking was incorrect. It is not normal to turn around and be like, wow, guys, I didn't understand at the time that me saying this is inflicting pain upon these people. So I now stop, and this is why. Nobody normalizes that, and that's the problem. People do not want to turn around and say that they were wrong. People don't want to turn around and be like, bro, I said I did not mean to cause any pain or harm by saying all lives matter. I really thought it meant that we all should matter. I didn't realize that saying that is taking away from raising awareness for black people. I didn't know. People don't want to do that. People don't want to sit there and publicly admit to people that they were wrong. And that's part of the problem. That's contributing to the insensitivity, because it's like some people deep down know that they're wrong, because it's like, how can you look at all this information and still say what you say? How can you still honestly believe how you believe, knowing that what you believe is so completely left? Like, I don't get it. Fun fact, it is actually 3 hours later from when I last talked to you guys. Okay, so back to what we were talking about. What were we talking about? So, like I said, I just feel like the ugly side of social media is watching people basically be deliberately insensitive, and even if they don't mean to be insensitive, but when they learn otherwise, like why they shouldn't do what they do or say what they say, and they continue to do that, it's just ugly. It's just rude. It's just wrong. I don't like it. So that's what I would consider the ugly of social media. So you would probably think that the bad and the ugly should be one and the same, and I would think so too. But for me, I need my sunglasses. Okay, hello. Sorry, this is like this awkward little view right now. It's just really hot in the car, and everywhere I put it, it's starting to overheat the camera. So I'm just propping you guys right here for right now. So you're just gonna have this little awkward side cutout view of me, but bear with. Alright, so I want to talk about the bad of social media now. And the bad of social media is really more so, I don't know, this is just going to be kind of tough to navigate through, but just hear me out. That's the thing, hear me out. This goes for the non-black community as well as the black community. What I would consider the bad side of social media is having these heated debates over the wrong things. We're sitting here on Twitter going back and forth with one another over things that are distracting us from the bigger problems at hand. Why are we sitting here and getting upset at certain celebrities' ideas of using their voice to speak out about things? If one person feels like speaking out is posting Instagram stories, and another person's view is changing their entire Instagram feed or their entire Instagram like profile to different, like, you know what I mean? If people are doing it differently, why are we sitting here arguing over who's really doing it better or who's really about it, if you will? My thing is, if they're doing anything, they're about it. If they're trying to figure out what's best for them and their platform and what they are choosing to read and understand and do, if it's coming from a genuine place and there's no subliminal agenda, there's no trying to use this as an opportunity to get clout, you know, any of that. I feel like if it's not a case of any of that, I just personally don't understand why we're arguing about it. You know, I'm seeing a lot on Twitter of people being like, oh, well, so-and-so has X billion followers, so why isn't she making more posts on Instagram? Why are you so concerned about how many posts someone is posting on Instagram? Do you know how much she's donated? Maybe she's donated money. Maybe she's talking face-to-face with people. Maybe she's not willing to post yet until she knows what to post and what will come off as genuine and what's the right thing to do. Like, my thing is, just because everyone's not jumping to blackify every ounce of every piece of their social media does not mean they're not about the cause, doesn't mean they don't want reform, doesn't mean they don't want change. Like, that's not what that means. And my problem is, it becomes so freaking convoluted and concentrated on Twitter to see people go back and forth over the stupidest things that I'm like, do you realize we are being distracted from the bigger problems at hand? Like, do y'all really sit there and realize that, like, y'all going back and forth is only taking away time and attention to the timelines of what should be on the timelines? Like, people are putting out articles. I need to move, y'all. This is so weird. Okay, much better. I'm just tired of it. Like, and I've said this to several people, and I've even tweeted about it, but like, Twitter is a really good example of how sensitive the climate can be and how ridiculous people can be. And I say this with love. I don't say this to purposefully condemn, and I don't say this to make me seem any greater than, but I am saying that it's just ridiculous how sensitive Twitter can be. It's ridiculous to me. Like, Twitter, for some reason, and this goes for all social medias, but I'm seeing it a whole lot more on Twitter, cannot agree to disagree to save their life. And it's so annoying. It's so weird to me. I just don't understand people. I don't understand why it's such a problem to just let people have differences of opinions on things that are okay to have differences of opinions on. Now, when it comes down to racism and somebody saying racism doesn't exist, okay, yes, please go in and educate them. Please tell them they're wrong. Yes, that's when you do go in on the comments and you correct wrong behavior. That makes sense. But for somebody to say something like, if somebody tweeted something like, I'm doing all the research that I can do so I can learn more about Black Lives Matter, but I hope to educate myself well. Well, of course, you know, Twitter only has X amount of characters, but you get what I mean. Like, if somebody is tweeting that they are trying to actively change and figure out, like, what's the right thing to do and say, and someone's like, well, just say something, just do something. Oh my gosh. And people are just so blind to what's going on in the world. Okay, well, listen. For the non-Black community, for some of them, this is not anything that's been in their face. Some people were raised, you know, with parents that taught them that they don't see color. You just don't know what, and you can't, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't know how people were raised. You don't know where people come from. And let's just keep it a whole buck. In the school system, Black history is not taught the way it should be. It's not thorough. It's 2 sentences about Dr. King's civil rights, Rosa Parks, a bus, and we're good. Like, you don't really know about Black inventors. You don't know about, you know, who are the first Black people to attend these schools? What were the Black fraternities and sororities founded off of? What were their principles? Why were they founded? Why are HBCUs a thing? It's little things like that that throughout middle school and high school, no one's taught. All your school life, you know, I Have a Dream and Malcolm X. Like, you don't know anything. And for people that don't know anything else beyond that, if they're the non-Black community, they don't really probably have a need to know more. They don't know much more. You know, they don't experience it one-on-one like we do, because we experience it. We have the Black experience. We are Black. We experience the Black experience. They don't. So you can't berate every single person for coming out and saying, I am learning. I am trying to figure out what to do. I don't know yet, but I'm learning. And I'm so sick and tired, because that's how we lose allies. We want allies. We want a growing database of people that will scream Black Lives Matter, because our voices aren't enough. We need the non-Black community's help as well, because we already know the power that they have in their voice because of their privilege. Why are we tearing down and breaking possible bonds with possible allies by berating them, by admitting that they don't really know much about it and they're trying to learn? What are you doing? Like, for some reason, making mistakes is not okay on Twitter. People aren't allowed to explain that they've learned and they're growing from. It's do it right the first time or else you're canceled. And it's, you know, in a lot of respects, that's just not healthy. And I think it just really makes me sad, because as a Black community, I personally feel like we need to be more receptive to people wanting to learn. And instead, I see so much bullying. I see so much berating. I see so much, like, I mean, the retweets and the likes are astronomical. And it could be a joke, but, like, certain things shouldn't even be retweeted as a joke. Like, it's just, some things just really aren't funny to me. It's just like, no, that person was serious. They don't know. You know, they don't really understand racism in its modern day view. Racism is still very much prevalent in the modern day world, but if they don't know it for what it is, you can't be mad at them for that. They're learning. If they're actively learning, let them learn. Help them along. I just feel like as a Black community, we can help educate. And that's why I'm making these videos, to express my thoughts, and in doing so, helping educate without necessarily spitting facts and stats at you. I'm just educating you with my bare voice, bare opinion. I'm not trying to throw the, you know, lots of articles at you. I'm just speaking off of what I do know and what I do understand. But it can be as simple as that. It can be as simple as having a conversation with someone and allowing them to speak and feel like you are a safe place for them to tell you how they genuinely feel and what they don't know. I have so many white friends that in the past few weeks have come up to me privately, text messages, phone calls, Instagram messages, Facebook messages, and have been like, hey, I'm really, really sorry. I see your post. I feel the emotion, and it just breaks my heart personally. Well, social media has now made this very present, very real for people to be invited into the full Black experience, not just the parts that they want to see, the hairstyles, the fashion trends, the music, the fetishizing of Black men. It's beyond that now. Now they see the full Black experience. They see the brutality. They see the lynchings. They see cases that they didn't know about being reopened and examined, because this is very much so a part of the Black experience, is dying at the hands of someone that doesn't like us because of our skin color. And for the non-black community, I think what I would consider bad as far as what I see on social media from the non-black community is just an unwillingness to listen. And, you know, like for people that comment, for black people that comment under a non-black person's post on anything and, you know, is trying to like correct them on certain things or offer their opinion, and, you know, white people comment with the whole, well, there's black on black crime, police kill more whites than blacks. When it comes to this is not the time to throw these stats and be like, well, actually, the police kill white people more. Well, no crap. I mean, there's more white people than there are black people in general. Like, that kind of makes sense, don't you think? But it's like, we're not talking about who kills who more. We're just talking about the fact that our community is still being treated second class. Our community is still, and here's the thing, still, you know, that's just the bad side of social media. It's just like people aren't willing to ma'am, are you gonna go? People aren't willing to stop and listen. People aren't willing to hear each other out. People aren't willing to agree to disagree on things that can be disagreed on, if that makes sense. Really, I would like to see so much improvement on both sides of the table on that, because I just feel like social media, it gets dark real quick, it gets intense real quick, and I feel like sometimes it never has to get to that point. I think we just let it go there because we enjoy the drama, and right now we just can't afford to let drama fill up the timelines when people are trying to use these platforms to, you know, bring awareness that there are still missing people out there in the wake of all of this civil unrest. You know, cops have not been arrested for certain occurrences. There's just so much that we need to use these platforms for, and we don't need to be filling it up with drama and back and forth thing on stupid little minor things, is how I feel. Okay, so it's been like an hour since my last comment. I answered a phone call, and then it started raining, and then my brother FaceTimed, and now we're here. So it's been some time. So now let me wrap up my video in the way I was trying to an hour ago. I like the fact that social media is being used as a tool to help educate. I like the fact that people are using it as a platform to spread awareness of what always has been for us as a black community. I'm really excited to see social media be used in very positive ways. I know I touched on a lot of negative stuff and started this video out kind of negatively, but I definitely have seen, I don't want it to be minimized because of how much of the negative stuff I've talked about in this video. I don't want to minimize the positivity I've seen on social media. A lot of people have been very diligent about making Instagram stories about what's going on, you know, doing polls, you know, I don't know, just all kinds of really cool creative things, especially those that are very creative in making Insta stories. People who are naturally creative at social media, it's been really cool to see them get even more creative with it and use it as a tool to educate. I like seeing, you know, people, I'm very pleased to see people openly talk about how they feel on social media and get the support that they need. I'm also a huge fan of seeing black businesses be properly marketed and given the exposure that they need. I'm really a fan of the wave of making sure black businesses are really given their chance to shine, and social media has been so crucial for that. Like social media, I'm a part of a lot of different Facebook pages that are promoting black businesses, black Instagram pages, like black artists, black creators, everything black, you know, trying to really put the dollar back in the black man's hand. And I really, really like that. I really hope that something really good comes out of this momentum of changing the dollar. There's a lot of good things happening. I'm seeing a lot of like groups being formed on social media with like, you know, just different things so people can find like-minded people, whether it's, you know, pages to promote businesses, whether it's pages to help, you know, mommies to be, I mean, it's just so much. I'm seeing social media really like bring people together and meet people and help each other out, which is so us anyway. That's just so us, you know, we come together, we figure things out, we make it work. So I really hope that momentum continues and makes a permanent change. My thing is, I don't want any of this good stuff to stop. I want it to be the momentum into a different avenue. I want us to keep going. But yeah, that is my take on social media. That's how I feel. I wanted this to be my first video because social media is just such a huge and very prevalent part of our world as we know it. It is part of the everyday life, whether we want it to be or not. It just is. And so I wanted to talk on my thoughts on that and how it relates to what's happening in the world today. Very superficially. I didn't really get, into I didn't really get too deep into it. I just wanted to give my honest opinion about the general social media world and how I'm viewing it in this time of civil unrest and global pandemic and everything else under the sun, flying freaking murder wasps and whatever else. I don't even know no more. So yeah, this was my first video, even though at this point I have filmed it like 4 times, 3 times, I don't know. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you find this video helpful in some way, educational for some. I hope this will spark conversation with somebody. I don't know. I really hope this video does something for somebody. So yeah, if you guys like these types of videos, let me know. If you have any other topics that you want me to touch on, I am so willing to listen and hear what you guys want me to talk about and get my thoughts on, my opinions on. Like I've noted a few times in this video, the very next video after this is going to be my thoughts on All Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter. I'm definitely getting a lot of people wanting to hear about defunding the police because of its misconception. But yeah, I think that's everything I have to say for today, and hopefully I'll see you guys in another video very, very soon. Thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a good one. Stay safe out there. Bye.